have our next guest for today, Terry Mekoski, with us. And we have a lot to talk about. Again, it's a little bit election focused again because our elections in Michigan are a disaster and they got to be fixed. And we kind of want Terry's opinion on some things. So we're going to start by talking about the 2020. Terry, want to welcome Terry.
Thank you.
A lot of you in Macomb County and a lot of southeastern Michigan know Terry. Anyway, in the 2020 election, that was the year of the TCF Center, the cardboard on walls, you can't see through windows, and all this kind of nonsense that was never really investigated and probably never will be. But that election, we know now that Donald Trump won. And at the time, we couldn't get any Republican officials to look into that election. But now we all know that Donald Trump won that election. It was heavily, I don't know, it was illegal. A lot of things went on. But anyway, I just wanted to ask Terry what he thought about back then, and maybe we can talk about a couple races since then and lead up to what's going on now. So anyway, Terry, what'd you think of when all that happened? I know our vice chair at the time, Lisa, was at the TCF Center and witnessed the whole thing.
Well, as you know, we were running for sheriff, our first race in 2020, and we had a great race with your support and all the grassroots folks that were in Macomb County, and we thought we had a real shot at it, and we thought we won the election. I mean, until 4 a.m, you were at the party, and most people were at 4 o'clock in the morning. We were 46% ahead. We had folks even from Lansing that were there that were part of our campaign that told me to go home, go to bed. Mathematically, you couldn't lose, and congratulations. And we woke up in the morning, and this onslaught of mail-in votes came in, and sure enough, the sheriff pulled off a surprising victory. We were told even that people from his party said that he went home a little disappointed and thought he had lost the race. But obviously, the influx of these mail-in votes make a big difference in 2020, and it also did in the 2024 election for us. We were lucky enough in between there, to win a special election as a state rep and represented the 36th district at the time. Mm-hmm. One of our pride accomplishments, which we tried to be, but it didn't occur, was me and my chief of staff, Danny Bartolotto, put together a bill to preserve all the records and the data and the PDFs and emails for election fraud to try to do a deep dive into that. And as a state rep, we were hoping to spearhead that, and we couldn't get it on the floor.
You have to remind me because I forget, were the Republicans the majority then?
They were in the Senate and in the House, yes.
In the Senate and the House.
Yes, sir.
So you put together, I remember that bill now that you mentioned it. So you put together a bill for election integrity to a Michigan House Speaker.
Correct.
With a Republican House Speaker, I'm sorry.
Yes, it won't work.
And then we have a Republican in charge of the Senate.
Yes.
And the bill had no legs, couldn't get nowhere.
Couldn't even get on the floor.
See, this is the problem in Michigan.
Yeah.
Right here. They all know our elections are corrupt. Republicans too.
Right.
Yet nothing is done. For decades, we have known that Wayne County is corrupt.
Correct.
And many times in those decades, we've had a Republican governor, Republican House, Republican Senate, and the Wayne County election fraud was never ever investigated, discussed, or anything.
Correct.
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you.
I think Wayne County is used as a patsy nowadays. I was I got in the force with the Detroit Police Department when I was 19 years old. I came up through the ranks in Detroit for 5 years, and before I left for Oakland County. But seen a lot of, or heard about, a lot of election fraud was discussed even amongst the police department, and it was going on. And a lot of those folks back in the 80s and 90s moved out of Detroit. And I'll be doggone if they didn't move to Macomb or Oakland counties, So there's these people that perpetrated this fraud are all over. They're in Oakland, they're in Macomb, they're in Wayne. Yeah. They're in the political establishment. And unfortunately, until we do our homework, until we vet our politicians, really vet our politicians, we can't vote on a name or on what the party says anymore. I was an anomaly to get elected in the first place. I was never endorsed by the party because the party, when I retired from the Sheriff's Department after 26 years with them and another 5 years with Oakland County, I was working with the DEA as their senior financial investigator. I I just had a thought, I live in Macomb County, and since I moved out of Detroit, I lived in Macomb County for over 25 years. I thought, running a federal task force for years with the FBI and the DEA in Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne counties. I knew Oakland County and our sheriff, Bouchard, did a great job, and it was also under John Nichols. And they were great mentors of me, and we thought we could bring a lot of experience to Macomb and really bring Macomb up to date. I think they're 10 years behind Oakland County, and still do it. I wish we had the opportunity to make that. It's very easy change, but can't teach an old dog new trick, who I think is still in there, and it's just kind of retired in place, unfortunately. But that being said, I really thought we could have made a difference, in the sheriff's department there. So, but the election, that being said, that the parties, if you're an outsider and you're not handpicked by the party, it's very, very hard to win. And, if it wasn't for you guys, the grassroots in Macomb County, seeing that we were a good and viable candidate, and that we were honest, and that we shouldn't even have to say that we're honest. And when we were in Lansing, we were the only state rep. I was the only state rep that didn't take a penny from a lobbyist. And both sides of the aisle thought it was crazy. Even the Speaker of the House came to me and said, "Are you running for re-election?" I said, "Well, yeah. Well, you're not taking lobbyist money." Well, I was taught as a young police officer, you take a police officer's creed, you'll not take gratuities, you swear upon that.
Yep.
Well, it's legal, he tells me. Because you say bribery is legal doesn't mean morally I think it's correct.
It's correct.
And if you give me money, and if you give me drinks and dinners and vacations and rental cars and tickets to events, it's going to be a whole lot harder. Most people, once that starts getting good to them, it's a lot harder to say no, right?
It is.
And once you start living on that money, and then they come to you and ask you for a favor, you have to be able to say no. Most people don't.
Yeah, most people don't.
Most people don't.
Because in that process also, you build relationships with these people, you become friends with these people.
Right.
And then a bill comes up that you don't like, but they got all kinds of reasons why this one's different. This one, I know that you're not into that kind of thing, but this bill is different for these kind of reasons. We need to do it. If you do this, we can support you on that.
Right.
All these deals, and in the meantime, the people, the constituents, are last place.
Right, absolutely. And don't get me wrong, there's some good people up there. I'm not painting a broad brush about everybody, but a good amount of people up there have fallen prey to that, and they go along with it just to get along, and they're looking for their next elected position or to pad their pockets. And I'm not running for office right now, so this is coming from my heart. But I think we need to change the way our political system is working. Because we do have some of the worst people I've ever met, and that says a lot from my background in politics. And if we can't trust them, I call a lot of those folks the Judases of our day. They are selling our children's and our grandchildren's future today for a few shekels. For the future for a few shekels today. So
it's very true. It amazes me because I've watched it now in 1986. I was the first time I ran for precinct delegate, and I've been watching our state circle the drain ever since. Even when we have Republican governors, we never seem to get anywhere. It's like a pause, more or less. And then the Democrats come in and they push the football down the field further. Then we all get mad. We elect a Republican that does nothing, and everything stays in. For instance, this last cycle, where we took the House. And we're going to keep the House again because we must, because it's the only hope that these people get religion and start doing the right thing. But during the lame duck session, look what the Democrats did. Republicans couldn't even talk during lame duck because they had the governor, they had the state, they had the House and the Senate. They just rammed things through. They didn't even let Republicans talk. They did everything. They put tons of crap. Now, when the Republicans take power, which we're going to do, we're going to get a Republican governor. Hope it's a good one. Don't know. But we're going to get House and Senate back. But will they push on the Democrats anywhere near like the Democrats pushed during lame duck? I've talked to a couple of them, and I said, why can't we have, but I know why now, because you mentioned that bill for election integrity you tried to do. But I said, why can't we get a bill whereby during lame duck, you can propose bills, you can speak about bills, you can speak for and against, you can do it, but you cannot vote on any bills. During the lame duck session, the voting takes place after the new legislature is sworn in.
Right.
And that ends all that crap.
Right.
And And they kind of, well, yeah, kind of that kind of thing. But you think they do it? Not in a million years.
Well, I've seen some hope with Matt Hall. I think he's kind of taken his lead from President Trump and
Good.
the American First group that's up there. I like those guys and what they're doing, and they're pushing for America first. And we have to realize that the Democrats up there are in bed with China. They're with the data processing centers and the battery plants and the farmland that's been 45% of our farmland with foreign interests in it, and the fresh water from our Great Lakes is going. We need America first, the same way President Trump is putting it in Washington. We need folks, our Republicans in Lansing, to do it, and I think Matt Hall and the American First group are doing that, and I hope and pray that the rest of the Republicans get behind those guys and girls and lead Michigan back.
Yeah, I hope so too. I know that there's a lot of things that irritate me, but just as one citizen to another, since you don't hold any office now, you don't plan on running for anything. What do you think? What do you think of Trump talking about the federal government overseeing the elections?
Oh, I would welcome that. From what I've seen with our elections and on the local level, we got a cabal here in Macomb, and I think you know that. Everybody's involved in politics in Macomb knows that. I'm not speaking out of turn. It's Republican and Democrat. It doesn't make a difference. It's who's taking care of who. That goes back for as long as I can remember, since I've lived here the last 30 years. And that's got to change. We have to have our principles and morals. We need God back in Macomb. We need God back in our country, and we need people who are going to do the right thing by those standards. And it's, you know what? Many times I tell people, like, you can trust me. You couldn't give me $50 million in unmarked bills in the other room because I'm worried about, my Lord and Savior, and I want to hear well done, faithful servant. You shouldn't have to say that. But then again, I most people don't say that because they can't say it. Yeah. And I shouldn't say most, but a good part of people who are in politics can't say that. And I was nicknamed, and I don't know if they even know that I know this because I have friends all over that tell me that. They said, well, Terry, the insiders call me Father Terry because they say, oh, he's too good to be in politics. Yeah. Well, I think that's ridiculous. I've been a public servant my whole life, and I think I'm an average Joe. I'm by no means a great guy. I'm a good guy that wants to do the right thing for my kids and my grandkids, and I want to make it better for them. I left a more lucrative job at the DEA as a senior financial investigator to run for office, and I don't regret it, but I look back at it, it's probably a foolish move. It cost myself money and my family money, but I'm worried about my kids and my 13 grandbabies.
And if it's an honest system and you lose, you lose.
You can take that, no problem.
But if it's a dishonest system,
right,
that's a whole other thing.
Oh,
you invested a year or two of your life. People donated. They went door to door. It goes for any candidate. It goes for those candidates that were the last governor race when they took 5 candidates off the ballot.
Right.
Well, to me, that was horrendous because they didn't go after the people that did. They finally did, by the way. Right. Did you hear what happened?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so they finally nailed the people that were really guilty. The candidates weren't guilty of anything.
Right.
They were guilty of paying, which is totally legal,
put your trust in
for people to go door to door and get signatures. So, but they got thrown off the ballot. Now, those people, they had supporters, they had donors, they had people going door to door. They weren't the only ones robbed. And the people of Michigan were robbed of their message because maybe one of them would have been a possible governor with a good message. So we were all robbed by that act because we had this committee of 2 Democrats and 2 spineless Republicans that throw them off because of the election thing. So this is what happens. Everything's orchestrated. We have a lot of people running for governor now. And so is the same thing going to happen? Are they going to narrow the field by someone that we don't know throws them off the ballot before? It just seems as though every aspect you look at, there's somebody's fingers involved somewhere.
There's an angle.
And something you mentioned too about your nickname.
Right.
That's the people we need running. The people, our politicians running for office should be the cream of the crop. They should be the most honest, the best there is.
I always say, Mark, if you don't have an honest police officer, an honest priest, an honest politician, there's nothing worse than that. You catch them doing wrong, put them under the jail. You're giving too much power, you're giving too much trust. And like this, you talked about running for office. The people in Macomb County, the grassroots people, that's what I felt even worse than for myself is for them, because they put so much blood and sweat and tears behind us. And we were talking about good, God-fearing Christian people that walked for us, that donated for us, and that that's why I'm not running for office, because I just can't take their money. If we can't win an election in a real system where votes are counted the way they're supposed to. Even our last election, like I said, for the mail-in votes to make the difference, we won every day of voting. We won the early election, and then all of a sudden 122,000 mail-ins come in. And then when you look at those votes over, even compared to other offices in the county, over 20-some thousand extra votes just voted for the sheriff's race.
Yeah.
It
So
didn't make
20,000 people thought that much of the current sheriff that they voted strictly for that race.
Right, in a presidential race, they didn't vote for anybody else. It was more than that, over 20-some 1,000 or 22,000 votes. And if you can Google the numbers, or I mean, you can see the numbers and do a little research yourself, and you'll see our race was such an anomaly. The statisticians say that there was a 1 in a billion chance that would happen. That over 40,000 people go out and get ballots and only vote for one. Don't vote for president, Congress, Senate, even the county, local county. They only worry about the sheriff, and they didn't vote for any. They didn't even vote for other Democrats. Just didn't make sense.
Well, it didn't make sense. But technically, that's not proof. Well, it's proof to me that something is wrong.
No, we were going to have we looked into having a recount, but we were told by the current clerk that it was going to be 25,000, and we said it was 75,000.
Yeah, they changed the price. I remember that.
Yeah, but then I was assured, as good friends that we are, that it was a fair race. Even though I had talked to them pretty much the whole time we ran.
So actually, there are those complaining that what President Trump said, that the federal government should oversee the elections. They're worried about what that could be someday, which is valid, because when you do something like that, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. However, America's in bad shape right now.
Absolutely.
And Michigan's not the only state. They're investigating Georgia right now. And so that's why I support the idea of somebody coming in and overseeing these elections in states like ours. It's like the drug thing. Now, you're very involved with fentanyl fathers, stuff like that. Is it right to say decades?
Oh, yeah.
How long's fentanyl been coming in?
Oh, well, fentanyl in the last 10 years is probably it's really hit hard, and it's been killing our people. But it's been one thing after another, and
I wonder how many people watching this have got a family member. But the thing is, it really boiled me when Rand Paul got all upset because President Trump is blowing drug boats out of the water in international water. Now, I've seen films of those boats. They're not fishing boats.
Right.
Who fishes at 70 miles an hour on the surface of the water?
Oh, those are specific drug boats, speed boats that are used for transporting drugs that are killing hundreds of thousands of people. I mean, we've lost more people to fentanyl overdose than all our wars combined.
Yeah. So what I have to say to Rand Paul is, what have you and your buddies in the Senate done to stop our kids from getting murdered by drugs? And now we have a president actually physically doing something, and he's all bent out of shape.
Well, most people don't realize.
Libertarians can jump in the lake, as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. Most people don't realize how many people are dying, and we're dying from the fentanyl overdose. You're talking about over 100,000 people. You're talking about a 747 full to the rim, over 300 to 400 people a day going down every day of the year for 365 days of the year. Would we stop that? Would we do something about it? Of course we would. But yet they were doing nothing to stop it.
What does Congress do?
Nothing.
They're doing nothing to support this president. They're doing nothing to protect our people. Oh, it just drives me nuts. Makes your eyes bleed when you think about it.
No, absolutely.
But anyway, so we got to get together again sometime and talk strictly about fentanyl fathers and all that sort of thing.
No, if anybody has an issue out there, we will get Greg Swan. I'm a board member on fentanyl fathers. I was at the White House when they signed the bill and the privilege of doing that. It was great to be there, but we definitely will be back with him, and let's wrap this up by just saying that we got a Secretary of State race coming. Please look into it. We are doing a lot with the races in 2024 with Tim Fetter, with Roger Goodrich.
Yep.
And I think he's gonna have a big announcement tomorrow and some things coming out, and look at what's going on. And we have some things in the work with the federal government that may make a lot of people worried.
Fantastic. So maybe you come back on in the near future.
We will absolutely anything for you, Mark.
Thank you for everything you've done, Terry.
Right
For all the battles you've been in.
Right back at you, sir. You guys have always been great to me, and I'm there anytime I can help you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I want to thank you guys too for being here today. Go to michiganmatters.org where you can sign up for our newsletter, and please contribute if you can a little bit to help us keep this going. We've got to save the state of Michigan. It's a swing state, and we've got to do what we can to make it pure red like it should be. It definitely should be a red state. That's one reason Michigan is such a target, and Macomb is such a target. We're the only red county, major red county in Michigan. So I want to thank you all for being here. And again, tomorrow at 7:30, we have Monica Yatoma running for Secretary of State at the office. That'll be up on your screen and at the website. But thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you.